I don't see, even among the most deluded supporters of Israel and the most deluded advocates of the American empire, you just cannot have a state that is in, especially now, in a state of perpetual warfare and conquest. Even if you go back nearly 100 years, Imperial Japan or Nazi Germany, states where they were at constant warfare and were extracting natural resources and forcing people to free labor and getting as much economic exploitation out of their victims as they could, that still was unsustainable past a certain point. Israel doesn't even seem interested in doing that. They just want to ethnically cleanse as many people as possible, make as many people who come to try to help, like doctors or journalists or whoever, try to kill them, make them miserable, make the doctors that are indigenous to these places, make them too heartbroken to help by killing all their families. But at a certain point, you just cannot spend, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100, $200 billion a fucking year for this with a country of that's about the size of New York City, especially when all the other things that Israel did, all the other things that keep the Israeli economy going, tourism, appealing to this sense of identity politics of like, your true home is here, you're safer here than ever. When the lid bursts off that pot, who is actually going to want to give up their life in Long Island and maybe eat some of the worst pizza they've ever had in their life, get on a bus, and get shredded by a nail bomb? How is their pharmaceutical industry? How is their tech industry? How is any of this going to work when they cannot even protect the skies over Tel Aviv? Like everyone here, reticent of any premature triumphalism, but I agree entirely. It just does not, taking a 10, 20, 30 year broader view of it, this just cannot be maintained. This just cannot be maintained. And it just seems like the more horrors they unleash on people, they create that many more people with resolve. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you guys saw those interviews with Qassam fighters where they talked to them, these guys who were doing these incredibly courageous things that if you put them in a movie, people would never stop talking about them. Running up to tanks and track pans, sticking proximity mines on them, grabbing soldiers out of them. All these guys, when they talked to them, they said, I wanted to be a gym teacher. I wanted to be a baker. I ran a restaurant, but I could not stand by while this happens. And for however many people they kill, it seems like they're creating that many more who will fight like Sinwar did to the last bits of strength in their body. And Felix, I just don't.
I mean, just to pick up on what you're saying too. I mean, I was talking with some colleagues about this the other day. I mean, I speak to the political leadership of Hamas regularly, and it's like every single one of those guys, their sons were in the Qassam brigades, and many of them, their sons were Nukba, were special forces within the Qassam brigades. Bassem Naim, one of the top negotiators, 2 of his sons were killed. Ghazi Hamad, another negotiator, his son was one of the fighters that was murdered after the ceasefire in the tunnels of Rafah. Khalil al-Hayya, the political leader and top negotiator of Hamas, has had 4 of his sons killed, multiple grandchildren. These guys have had their wives killed, their mothers killed. You look at Yair Netanyahu partying in,
chilling
South
in Miami.
Beach. You look at the Trump sons or Witkoff's sons. This is like Tacitus level story here, where these guys, they're literally, their sons are fighting the war, and they're portrayed as, these are billionaires living in luxury somewhere. I mean, first of all, that's a total lie, a complete and total lie. But secondly, the entire narrative is a complete fraud. And it relates to what you're saying, Felix, about the doctors or the lawyer or the engineer. Palestinians are like all other people in the world. You think that what they want to do is be living in tunnels and eating multi-year-old MREs and constantly having to figure out new ways to attack the murderous occupation forces in their community. They want to be dentists, they want to be doctors, they want to be lawyers. And so when you recognize, when you humanize them and you say, wow, what would I do if my life was like that? Then you have trouble with your narratives because you're saying, wait a minute, that could be my neighbor. That could be my cousin. That could be me if I was facing those kinds of conditions. Those are the narratives that they don't want anyone to talk about. And so to bring it full circle, the generation that carried out the first and second intifadas, the image that they grew up with was the rock at the tank, throwing the rock at the tank. This generation, the next generation, has grown up watching the leader of Hamas, Yahya Sinwar, literally die in battle, facing down against a high-tech robot flying in to the shelled building that he was in after engaging in a firefight on the front lines of the war while Netanyahu was hiding.
He was in his 70s too, right? Like how old was he when he did that? Like